Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. As you can see, I'm not in my traditional environment. My family and I recently took a vacation. And so we are in sunny Atlanta, Georgia, and humid Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm gonna bring this YouTube video to you today, a little bit more informal than I typically do, and talk with you a little bit about a principle and an idea that I've been wanting to share for a really long time. So stay tuned. Okay, so this principle that I wanted to share with you about today is called the Hand-Holding Assessment. And this is so helpful when you're working through a conflict, particularly as a couple, and you're looking for opportunities to resolve that conflict in a manner that's productive and in a manner that really helps the conflict heal in the most effective manner. And the reason I call it the Hand-Holding Assessment is because you'll realize if you think in the next time you're in a conflict, a little bit about the narrative that's going on in the back of your mind. Typically, controlling that narrative is so vital to conflict resolution. And when you think about the narrative in the back of your mind, here's some common narratives during conflict. It's common for a spouse to feel like my partner doesn't love me, my partner doesn't respect me, my partner doesn't care about me or care about my needs, my partner feels like I'm worthless, my partner has never prioritized me. Narratives along these lines are super common during conflict. And as we've been learning about recently in our videos, the reason that that's important is because those narratives drive the emotion that I'm going to feel during conflict. And emotion can get extremely out of control during conflict, especially if we're not managing those narratives. So it's important for us to kind of manage for those narratives, control for those narratives, and reframe those narratives that are in the back of our mind during conflicts if we're going to have productive conflict resolution. So I call this the derived lens. The derived lens can come to play when we're in the midst of a conflict, and it is not helpful to conflict resolution. It's responsible for all those unproductive emotions that we feel during conflict, and primarily responsible for the emotions that drive all those unproductive behaviors. Things like criticism, defensiveness, fighting, kind of rebutting one another, not listening for understanding, not seeking compromise in a conflict. These types of behaviors that really aren't helpful to conflict resolution. So it's really important then that we're managing those narratives, that derived lens, the lens through which I can view during an argument that makes me feel ways, that makes me act ways that aren't helpful to conflict resolution. And if you want to learn more about conflict resolution, check out our whole video module. I go into a lot of detail in that one about the derived lens and the way that it's responsible for emotions and behaviors that really get in the way for most couples resolving their conflicts. And the one strategy that I want to talk about in this video is called the Hand-Holding Assessment. Now, the reason I like this strategy is because any couple can do it in any conflict. You can pull off this assessment. And what it's designed to do is to help you assess where that narrative is in the back of your mind during a conflict. Because you see, oftentimes those narratives are subconscious, which means we're not even consciously aware that they're occurring, and yet they're responsible for so much of the unproductive emotion and behavior during conflict for couples. So the way that you use this strategy is during your next conflict, what I want you to do is imagine yourself, right in the middle of the conflict. Could I reach out and hold my partner's hand? Right? If they offered their hand to me, right, could I respond? Could I reciprocate? Could I hold their hand during this conflict? Now, the reason this is so effective is because we don't typically do a behavior like hand-holding as spouses unless we're really attuned to the idea that this person is my lover and my best friend, my life partner, my companion on the same team. These are the types of narratives that holding hands typically requires, right? And so if I'm not in that kind of a lens, right? If I'm in a lens that says I don't matter to my partner or I'm worthless to my partner, I'm not going to feel to hold their hand. In fact, I'm going to feel to treat them more like I feel and behave more like they're my enemy, which those types of emotions and behaviors during conflict are really responsible for the most destructive parts of the conflict. So our goal is to assess, can I be in a mind state to really walk through and work through and resolve this conflict? And if I'm not in that mind state, I have no business trying to resolve this conflict right now, right? We need to take a break. We need to create some space, and we both need to work to get back into a place that we can feel the love and the connection in our relationship again in order to resolve this conflict. So in the middle of your next conflict, that's what I want you to do. I want you to pause, and I want you to ask yourself, could I hold their hand right now? And if I could hold their hand right now, it's a good sign that I'm in a good space to resolve conflict with this person. I'm probably going to have a productive conflict resolution with this individual. But if I couldn't, if my answer is no way, I cannot hold their hand right now, then what that's going to tell you is that you need to spend a little bit more time reframing. And you can take a look at our YouTube video on reframing. We put that one out recently. It's a great one that helps you kind of understand the power of reframe. But it means you need to take a step back for a little bit more, reframe the dynamic that you're in, and get yourself to a place where, okay, I'm going to go back into the same room with this person, and I feel like I could hold their hand if we needed to. It doesn't mean you have to. You don't have to hold hands while you resolve conflict. It's just assessing whether or not you can be in that mind space as a tool to understand, are you prepared to be engaged in a productive conflict resolution with your partner, right? So that's a hand-holding assessment. I use this all the time with couples in our therapeutic practice, as I work with couples coaching all around the world. This is a strategy that we use a lot, and it helps an individual assess for, can I be in a place to productively resolve conflict? So I wanted to bring that to you today. I've been thinking about this principle for a while, wanted to fit it into a YouTube video. And during this trip with my family on this vacation, I felt like, what a great time. We're a little informal anyway, and I'm going to chat with you a little bit about some conflict resolution strategies that can really help. It's great being with you today. In the comments below, if you'd like to see more about our trip, throw some comments down there, let us know. I'm happy to put together a YouTube video that just kind of focuses on some of the places that we went and saw during this trip. It's been fantastic. Georgia has a lot to offer. We spent some time in Tennessee, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to spend some time with some history and some fun and some connection with the family. So let us know. Let us know if you want to see some of that. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. It's great being with you, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Take care.